Okay, parents, I know that a burning question you have, because we have this about anything we do for our kid, is this safe? I know that's probably one of the number one things that are Googled amongst parents. Hey, is this safe for my kid to do? Because I'm watching videos online of chiropractors like cracking necks and yanking with towels, and it looks terrifying. I don't want them to do that to my child. Like, why do they need that done? And I'll tell you this, they don't. Little children don't have the bones that we have. They're still in largely cartilage. Until they're at skeletal maturity, they have growth plates everywhere. And we don't necessarily learn everything in school about pediatrics. Actually, I know that we don't because I went to school about 17 years ago. Instead, you need to learn more about pediatrics as an advanced specialty, which is what we do, where we know we're providing safe and effective adjustments. And I do not like those words since 2020. I'll tell you that right now. However, what I want you to know is that children don't need to be yanked and jerked around. That our spines, while we think of it as our backs and they're holding us upright, and we might have a disc that comes out, right? As a parent, some people are like, oh, I went to the chiropractor, I had to get a big burly guy who crunched me. And that is fine if that's your flavor of chiropractic. Here's the thing we're doing. We're working with their nervous system. And your spine, those bones are there only to protect. Yes, do they hold us upright? Absolutely. But those bones are protecting the most vital organ inside of our body, our spinal cord and our nervous system. Those bones are designed to bend and move. Those bones and muscles are designed to protect when there's stress, when there's a potential that those nerves and the nervous system is not working well. And that's what your chiropractor is looking at, are areas of tension, and we measure it on our scans. You've probably watched my videos before to know exactly how much and exactly where. And we know with a gentle release, we call it a neurotonal technique. We're taking tone out of the spinal cord. You might have a kid that likes to headbang or is very erect and tense. There's a lot of tone in their nervous system. It's usually robbing them of their energy that they need for their muscles and joints and to move well and think well. As you release that, the brain is happier, the body is happier, and those muscles relax and those bones fall into place. And I'm not talking about they're being jammed into place, because if you've gone to a chiropractor who takes an x-ray of your back, first of all, I can't tell if you're dead or alive. Those are a picture of bones. And I know we can live with crooked bones. What matters is what those bones are doing to our nervous system. So I would just caution you, if there is somebody telling you they are going to bang your spine or your child's spine back into place because they're lacking all these curves, I would ask, well, why? Why are those bones crooked? What happened? And why are they there, since they're protecting that vital organ inside of your body? It'd almost be like going to your house. You have a crooked home. Things are crumbling down and you hire someone and they're like, oh yeah, I'll fix that. And they didn't look at the foundation. They didn't look at, well, why is the house crooked in this spot in the first place? And to really know and understand what's going on in this total picture. Our spinal cord, we know, will be damaged and injured, right? If you break a bone in your back or your neck, wherever the break is from here down, typically the human is incapacitated. It can be really, really devastating. So what if there wasn't a break, but there was stress? What if there's a shift, just a millimeter of a shift onto that nervous system? Do you think it could interfere with the organ and gland function? Do you think it could interfere with how your brain and body are communicating? Absolutely, and we measure that stress. And we safely remove and gently remove that stress from your child's nervous system. And often we need to take the bones out of it. And if you have a chiropractor talking about bones and you love that chiropractor and they're pushing things into place for you and that's the approach that you're taking, you can take that approach, and that is absolutely fine if that's your flavor. I would encourage you to never do that with your child. I would encourage you to see where the tension is in your child's spine and nervous system and why it's there in the first place. Most of it is birth intervention, as you've probably seen from my other videos, where somebody took your child out and pulled them up by their head or neck, whether it was a forceps or a vacuum or a cesarean section, or they forced them out with Pitocin or some other induction. or even someone is potentially up on the table pushing your child out. Now, we would never, as humans, right, when your baby comes out and into your arms, we would never not protect that head and neck. That is the number one thing we protect. Yet we don't think about that during the birth process. Potentially there's an injury there, and potentially the brain and the body are protected there. And everything underneath is following suit where that tension was. Here's what I want you to know. I have a little rubber band here. I want you to know that your spinal cord, so the brain and the spinal cord, have all this sheath around it, and all these little meninges that help move cerebral spinal fluid up and down and nourish the brain and the spinal cord. When there's restriction there, there's going to be restriction of cerebral spinal fluid. There's going to be restriction of neurological impulses. There's going to be tension there. And your spinal cord is mostly free floating throughout that spine. So we can bend and move and twist and tumble and have full range of motion. Now, when there is tension there, it's not because of the bones and the muscles, remember. It's because there's tension in the spinal cord. And the two places that they actually anchor into a bone, so having a ligament in the front of the spine that attaches in your upper cervical, and cervical means neck, near your brainstem, and then down in your sacrum, so the lowest spot, that triangular bone, which, by the way, your child, instead of one triangle right now, unless they're at skeletal maturity, they have 4 bones that will eventually fuse together to make that sacrum. So we're looking specifically at the second sacral segment there. We call it S2. So if your spinal cord is elastic, malleable, pliable, yet there's not range of motion in it, and we have tension high and low, or there's twisting in that cord, we're going to see the spine follow suit and twist. And the best thing you can do to take tension off is either go erect to shorten the distance from front to back, or it's going to shrink and it's going to curve from side to side. Does it mean every child has that? No, but people that come in with scoliosis and patients that come in with a ton of torque and tension, or you can look at your kid and see the height of the ears off, the shoulders off, maybe even the hips, the elbows, if you were to look straight forward, you know that your child's spine and nervous system is taking tension off. We're innately intelligent and designed to do that. So our technique is taking tension and tone off of the spine, off of the spinal cord, and we work through the spine. It's a conduit into that nervous system. That's where we measure it. That's what we do to correct that subluxation, meaning the nerve tension that's there. And that's what we do to watch the body restore itself. So yes, our hands are on your children. Yes, we are using a very gentle technique. And most kids, once they're familiar with us, they are fine lying on a table and allowing us to do that. Sometimes they want to be in mom's and dad's arms, and that is absolutely okay. We do a lot of adjusting from the floor, in the waiting room, in mom and dad's arms, sometimes mom and dad lying down, to be able to deliver that touch, that release, relieve the tension in the brain, and allow that child to live their very best life. So I want you to know, yes, if you are taking your child to a specifically trained pediatric chiropractor, they absolutely know what they're doing. They absolutely look at the nervous system and not the bones of your child. And they're able to guide you through the healing of your child rather than let's crack them a couple times and hope something changes, or let's crack everything and hope something sticks. Not the approach we take. We are extremely specific, we're extremely gentle, and we get wonderful, wonderful results. Let me know if you have any other questions.